welcome back to the second quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show. We do it in 4 quarters, and of course, first quarter went fast. And you know what? Those 15 minutes, less a minute for advertisers, sponsors, it goes by just a little too fast. But let's get right into it.
Yes, sir.
Can you give me a couple of good sponsors,
Oh,
please,
I sure can.
sir?
Every one of them is fantastic. We'll start with Carl's Thrifty Way. All your medicinal needs, go see Mr. Carl. If you're trying to get the prescriptions filled, over-the-counter medication, if you've got multiple prescriptions, they can compound them into one easy-to-take prescription, one liquid, one pill, one powder. They can fix you up with all that. All your home decorating ideas, it's springtime. I know you're buying graduation gifts, first communion gifts, confirmation. I got one confirming at home, the baby. So you got to get all those nice gifts to give and home decorating ideas. You know, Easter time's coming. You're going to start decorating the house after Lent's over and freshen it all up and do all these parties. Go by Carl's. They can help you out. And one more, let's go with LHC Group, Louisiana Healthcare Group.
Just
all
purchase
about
some
helping
more,
people. Absolutely. They are growing.
27 states now.
Got to visit with you and I, visit with Keith and Ginger a bunch lately. As much as we see them already so active in the community.
Then I'll be seeing them real soon, April the 9th. Evangeline Downs Racetrack and Casino wide open.
Because they support the horsing industry by having some horses.
You bet, you bet.
But if you need therapists, you need not trainers, but that's at the track. Therapists, you need the special lift chairs, the special oxygen equipment. They can get all that for you, Louisiana Healthcare Group. They've also got hospice care, palliative care. They've got the Health and Wellness Center on Heather Drive with the brand new tennis courts and all the different things you can do if you want to work out.
Swimming
it's the place to go. Swimming and everything.
Tennis,
we were talking to when Monsignor Derwent the other night was telling us that he goes swimming every day, I think is what he said.
I think that's
when he lived in Lafayette, he swam at Red Laurel's, but now he swims there. So go by Louisiana Healthcare Group, all about helping people.
Talking about Evangeline Downs opening up April 9th, we certainly want to wish them a successful year. We're getting some bad vibes on the fairgrounds and the upkeep and maintenance that they've, so says, not provided to the turf course, which is a big factor in their racing program there.
You got dirt and turf.
And turf, and of course Evangeline does too, but our turf is going to be okay. And Louisiana Downs over in the Shreveport-Bossier area, they having some problems there, and a gentleman has offered some bad legislation in our estimation of discontinuing quarter horse racing completely, and then bringing the racing season down to only 30 days rather than the 80 days that they carry help the horsemen out. So
and that's not a positive for the horse industry.
Well, he's trying to use some other tracks to compare it with, and it doesn't work out.
Compare.
So anyhow, the lobbyists and all of us are working to make sure that hopefully that doesn't pass. But a question that I've been getting is, as I mentioned last week, the ballots were in. I announced all the winners on the owner's side, on the trainer's side, and on the president's race, they had 3 candidates and they're having a runoff. No one got a 50+1 vote. And the 2 gentlemen that's in the runoff, and they are Bernard Chatters and Sam Bro. And the ballots are called this morning, and I talked to Mr. Ed Fanasi, and the ballots are going to be mailed April the 8th. That's in a few days. You're watching the program on the 3rd, so 5 days from now, you should be getting it a day or so after that. April the 8th, they mailed, and they have to be received back in the office in New Orleans at the post office box that you're going to be presented, given an envelope, all pre-addressed and everything, and that's got to be back April the 28th. So that's 20 days for all of this to happen. And so please, when you get it, don't put it off. Vote what you know about the 2 candidates. They each sent out a bio in the first. I think this time it's just going to be I didn't ask Ed that. Someone had mentioned
You've already got the information.
You've already got the information. Reevaluate who you want to go with, and please make your choice. And I'll remind you once or twice more on that particular issue.
How about
and
this?
by the way, those new members and those of us that got re-elected to the board, we're going to be sworn in today, Thursday, the 3rd, at 11 o'clock meeting being held in New Orleans at the office of HBPA on Gentilly Boulevard.
There you go. We've got this coming up Tuesday, April the 8th, over at the Louisiana Cajun Dome here in Lafayette, Louisiana, is going to be the WWE SmackDown. Now, we know we talk about boxing and all that, but we're talking about entering the squared circle of WWE. And, you know, I'd like to try to, you know, I know sometimes they get somebody out of the crowd, you know, you or I, maybe we could be a tag team. Go in there and try to see what we could do. But they're giving SmackDown tickets away, at least 10 pairs of tickets is what I understand. If you want to win some tickets, SMACK is what you need to send.
S-M-A-C-K. I'll tell you what, if you wait too long, you can't buy any. That's usually a sellout. 64636, that's right, 64636. Send the word SMACK. And years ago, I brought the 2 oldest boys to an event, and the way they did it, they filmed maybe 2 or 3 shows that night because the crowd was so into it. As they were going, they could see, and they said, we're going to try to, you know, if y'all will stay, we'll do one more I mean, it must have been from 7 o'clock till after midnight. So when you go, don't think it's just going to be a little short show. If they see the crowd is going to go, I mean, they bring them out. They should have a big show because the biggest event that takes place every year is WrestleMania. And WrestleMania is taking place this weekend in New Orleans. I mean, it brings in as many people around the world as the Super Bowl games do. So you're talking about a packed house over in New Orleans for WrestleMania. I mean, they coming in from around the world. Those tickets were sucked up in a matter of a couple of hours when they hit the market.
Huh?
But
it's entertainment. I mean, you know, if you're going to go see football or anything else, it's all entertainment. Now, you might argue that, well, there's a little more scripted. But you know what? Do we not go to be entertained?
Dolph
I mean, that's
and
what
his
we
wife
do,
and
right?
his little son, they'll be at this SmackDown.
When I was a little boy, we'd go to that place. Daddy would bring us off of, what is that, University? Near the railroad track, they had the little building there. You had
the red brick building.
Yeah, and who's our friend that lived in Krotz Springs? Jack Curtis lived around the Krotz Springs area at one time, and of course Bill Watts, Cowboy Bill Watts, and all those guys Reeser Bowden and all those guys.
One day, Kelly comes from upstairs in the house on Liberty Street, came downstairs, and she starts talking about the wrestling. And she was watching wrestling.
Upstairs.
We had no idea she knew every wrestler that was wrestling in this area and in the South.
And every one of them had a show. When you watch, one of them it was part American Indian. One was a black guy from Chicago. One was a white guy from Russia. And they had one from Iran. I mean, they had, what you know, they all might have been from Plaisance-Pacoya, Alexandria, and all that. But the show was the fact that it was a diverse group of guys.
It was a show.
Oh, yeah, made a good show. Anyway, let's get back to the topic, I guess.
And then a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the importance, and we talked about it, I think, last week, the importance of wearing your seat belts.
Yes,
when
sir.
you get into your vehicle, before you even turn the ignition on, hook your, or else you might overlook it.
Absolutely.
A young boy, age 18, from the Grand Prairie area, got into an accident, and his pickup truck flipped, and he had 2 passengers. None of them had seat belts on. He got killed, I think, at the scene, pronounced dead maybe at the scene, and his 2 friends, they had minor injuries. They were fortunate, but can you imagine if he'd have had that seat belt? It's very possible he'd have been just like the other 2.
Maybe walked away.
Walked away. So again, please try to get in the habit of doing it. It took me a while, but I hook them up now.
Well, you and I in the automobile insurance industry, like we have been, when you walk through that claim section, I mean, 9 times out of 10, when you read about death happening, there's no seatbelt. 9 times out of 10. I mean, the numbers are crazy.
Yep.
That you got to put them on.
And another thing that the sheriff writes this little article, and
gives advice.
His advice, and of course, that was one of the articles. The last article that's in the paper this past, I guess, whatever day they publish it, Sunday, we'll say, was reference to when you presented a ticket by an officer of the law, whether it's a town, parish, or state police, sign the ticket. Don't say you won't sign it, because if you say you won't sign it, then they have to bring you in to the parish and book you for the charge.
Right.
If you sign, you're not admitting fault. You're only admitting
that he handed
you the ticket. That's all. So just keep that in mind, please.
Yeah.
Don't give the officer any problem. And well, I don't want to sign that, and I shouldn't have gotten the ticket.
If you're going to fight it in court, you can fight it in court with the signature. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry.
It's not going to.
In fact, that's written on the ticket, right up below where they ask you to sign, where they put the cross to sign.
How about this? The Silver Slipper, and I think he's still calling it the Silver Slipper, but just went through this huge renovation. He talks about come see the new restaurant. It's a full-blown restaurant, not just the old bar and dance hall that we all know about from years gone by. Right there out in the Paconya area, they're going to have a big event. Is their 10th annual brisket cook-off on Saturday, May the 3rd. Proceeds are going to go to help St. Jude's Children Research Hospital. They're going to have dunking booths, chicken drop game, horseshoe tournament. There's going to be music. I think One Trick Pony with Matt LeBlanc. His band is going to be out there. But you can go out and you can sponsor it. $100, put your logo on things. $50 if you want to cook in a big area. $100 if you want to cook in a bigger area. $5, I think, to get in. Go by. It's going to be a great thing. That's May the 3rd. They're going to start cooking at 9. The bands are going to start at noon. If you want to contact somebody, call Janet at 879-7050. And, of course, it's our friend Paige Melanson. That's the Ramrod behind the whole project.
The owner, and he's the owner.
That's correct.
Another death was Wilbert Marks, and you ask for Wilbert Marks, you probably won't get too much of a reply. They don't know him. But if you ask for T. Marks, then then you'll probably get a yeah, I know him well. Anyhow, age 70, he's another one that died, was buried yesterday, if I understand right, and just a friendly, that smile you see in this picture here, that's what you saw when you saw him. And of course, Miss Joyce LaGrange is another person who died, and we know her daughter very well.
We know Karen, and we also know, of course, her granddaughter, Allison Higginbottom, who was one of our kids that has used the Cerebral Palsy Clinic for years and years.
Since I've been Santa Claus over 30 years, she's been there practically all, if not all of those years. And what's the other young boy? When he comes now, he comes all dressed up in a suit. CUNY, that's right. I'm going to remember the first name.
They
live right in the back of John S. Dowling, CPA firm on I-49 on the East Service Road.
You got it. Good morning.
Anyhow, Ms. LaGrange was age 79, a well-known person in our area. Our deepest sympathies to her family.
Yeah, we got one other big fundraiser coming up. I got a note from Miss Kathy Richard, the mayor over in Orneville, Louisiana. They're having the Etouffee Festival. The town of Orneville throwing the whole thing. My understanding is I think the proceeds go to help St. John Francis Regis Church over there. Any type of etouffee can be cooked. It's Saturday, April the 26th. So if you need more info, just call, I guess, the City Hall at 754-5911 and tell our good friend Father Keenan Brown, good morning.
Okay, what about LSU's O'Brien? We have 34 seconds left.
Johnny O'Brien is heading pro. He was out of Mississippi, a highly recruited guy. He's ending his junior year and he's heading out. Nice big man.
They should talk about him. He must have been the team this year.
He was a lot of it. He really, really was. I don't think he ever reached his full potential, but the NBA, you know, they're going to squeeze it out of him. They have money invested, so they're going to try to pull it out of him. I think he could have a little heavier work ethic in the pros. It would help him. A little harder work, but he's good. Excellent.
Well,
we're going to take a 1-minute break, and we're going to see you folks on the other side of 1 minute.